It shows you the lengths to which we'll go to bring this kind of intense experience to the viewer.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're looking at devastating incidents that happened on film sets.
The filmmakers knew about the town's troubling distinction before they got there. Wayne would even take his sons out with a Geiger counter for surveys, but they were assured that the location was very safe to shoot in.
Extra Trouble, Transformers, Dark of the Moon. We love gripping action scenes, but what some don't realize is that behind all that magic are sometimes real people in real danger. Gabriela Cedillo's case is particularly sad because she wasn't even a stunt performer, just a background extra.
A driver of a car was injured. She was not a member of the stunt crew, but a movie extra.
Filming Transformers Dark of the Moon, a steel cable holding a car snapped and crashed into her vehicle, damaging her skull. She suffered a traumatic brain injury, leaving her paralyzed on her left side.
24-year-old Gabriela Cedillo is the extra we have learned from Chicago who was injured on the set at Indiana, the Transformers 3 set last night.
Production was temporarily suspended, of course. Her family sued Paramount and was eventually awarded an $18 million settlement. But Cedillo's life was not the same again. The power of the Christ. The passion of the Christ. Playing the Christ is no easy feat, especially when you're committed to full realism. Just ask Jim Caviezel.
What I've noticed is Jesus, if you're close to him, he doesn't prevent you from suffering. That his closest friends are going to suffer with him.
While filming Mel Gibson's biblical drama, he endured a level of physical suffering that blurred the line between acting and actual torment. At one point, he was literally struck by lightning while hanging on the cross. You heard that right, lightning.
The Passion, well, I was struck by lightning on the last shot of the movie.
That wasn't even all. During the flagellation scene, the lash tore into his flesh. He dislocated his shoulder while carrying the cross, caught pneumonia, developed a lung infection, and racked up a list of other injuries.
And my shoulder had just been, the AC joint had been ripped so badly, I could barely get it over in this particular take.
Still, Caviezel was okay with bearing it all to portray the truth as real and raw as possible. Now that's true dedication, making history. Titanic. For a disaster movie like Titanic, there's bound to be some sort of disaster, not just on screen.
Iceberg, right ahead! Thank you.
One of its wildest backstage incidents was a mass poisoning. One night, over 50 people on set, including James Cameron himself, were sent to the hospital after someone laced their soup with PCP. To this day, no one knows who did it or why. Not only that, the production was infamously grueling, pushing cast and crew to their limits.
Come on! Here. Keep swimming.
Kate Winslet nearly drowned during one underwater scene, got injuries and pneumonia. She even said she'd never work with Cameron, though they eventually did. Other cast members weren't spared either. Broken bones, flu, kidney infection, you name it. Is this what it takes to make history? Dylan O'Brien's fall, Maze Runner, The Death Cure. Some accidents don't just leave physical scars. They make you question everything.
Take it slow, go around. We'll be fine.
That was very much the case for Dylan O'Brien, who suffered a traumatic injury during the production of this 2018 dystopian film. During a stunt, the motorcycle he was driving fell into a slide, leaving him with a facial fracture, brain trauma, and a concussion. The injuries were so severe, production was shut down for a year. The impact wasn't just physical for O'Brien, it shook him to his core.
It was horrible, it was a very scary thing. But we came back, all got together again a year later.
He even thought of quitting acting altogether. After his return to acting, he became very apprehensive about performing stunts. The sacrifices people make for thrilling shots. A deadly fall. The return of the Musketeers. In Richard Lester's 1989 epic film, Roy Kinnear plays Planchette, the loyal and often comedic servant to the Musketeers.
Yeah, it's an ambush.
Not for us, I'm afraid.
Unfortunately, this marked not only the end of his career, but his very life. While filming a scene in Toledo, Kinnear fell from his horse and broke his pelvis. As if that wasn't devastating enough, he went into cardiac arrest at the hospital and died shortly after. A body double was brought in to finish off his scenes. While his wife got entangled in a 6-year legal battle,
Planchet, get on your horse if you can.
She was eventually awarded 650,000 euros from the production company, with the hospital ordered to pay 60%. Still, his death cast a long shadow over the film's legacy. Sonia Davis's death. Vampire in Brooklyn. One of Wes Craven's more forgettable movies, this one stars Eddie Murphy as a vampire on the hunt in Brooklyn for a woman who could save his bloodline.
There's a killer on the loose.
You don't say.
While the film blends comedy and horror, it's marked by a real-life incident which is anything but funny. Angela Bassett's stunt double, Sonia Davis, died during a fall from a building.
It's unbelievable. Thank God you were here.
She was supposed to land on an airbag, but the fall went terribly wrong and she landed on the ground. To make things worse, her family witnessed it all. Davis spent 11 days in a coma before she eventually died. Her devastated family sued the production for negligence. The outcome is still unclear, but it raises questions about stunt safety in Hollywood. The fatal crash. XXX. Sometimes, even the most experienced professionals can't escape the dangers of a high-risk job like stunt work.
We had 500 stuntmen involved with this picture. 499 didn't get a scratch.
That's heartbreakingly true on the set of this Vin Diesel-led film. A stunt double for Diesel, Harry O'Connor was a retired Navy SEAL turned stuntman and well experienced at the job. While performing a paragliding stunt, tragedy struck as O'Connor crashed into a bridge and was killed instantly. What makes it even more painful, he had nailed the stunt in the first take. It was during the second take that he lost his life. Out of respect for him, this first successful one was eventually used in the final cut. Fall from the Sky. Catch-22. Maybe John Jordan was already used to the job or never thought it could lead to his death. Whatever the case may be, during the filming of Catch-22, this second-unit director met a tragic end. While filming an aerial sequence aboard a B-25 bomber, Jordan allegedly chose not to wear a safety harness, despite the obvious risks and the open hatch of the aircraft.
Jordan made the decision to not wear a safety harness. His role involved coordinating and capturing complex aerial sequences, which necessitated him being in precarious positions within the aircraft.
Tragically, Jordan, whose mobility was likely compromised by a prosthetic leg, lost his footing and was pulled from the plane during turbulence. He fell thousands of feet into the Pacific Ocean to his death.
Unfortunately, during this maneuver, he lost his grip and fell from the aircraft.
It was a heartbreaking loss, one that underscores how dangerous filmmaking can be, especially when perfect shots are chased over safety. Controlled Explosion. The Expendables 2. This action flick brings together big names like Jason Statham, Bruce Willis, Chuck Norris, and more. It's basically an all-star action dream.
Beware, beware, walk with care. Careful what you do.
Behind the explosions and high-octane thrills lies a real-life tragedy most fans don't know about. During the filming of an intense explosion scene, stuntman Kun Lu was seriously injured and later died from his wounds. Using real explosions? They should have known better, right?
According to producers, the stuntman was killed during a scene involving an explosion on an inflatable boat on Thursday.
Another stuntman was also seriously injured, but Lu's loss was the most painful. His parents later filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the production and stunt coordinator. Though the film honors Lu's memory, it's a sobering reminder of the real-life risk behind movie magic. Possible cancer. The Conqueror. Dick Powell's The Conqueror was released decades ago, but it's still remembered, and not for good reasons.
You will take pleasure with the offspring of your father's slayer. She will bring woe to you, my son, and to your people.
Besides its reputation as one of the worst films ever made, it became infamous for a real-life health hazard. The film was shot in Utah, just downwind from a U.S. government nuclear testing site. Cast and crew spent many weeks there. Tons of radioactive waste were even shipped back for reshoots.
For 6 weeks, horses kicked up dust, actors tussled in the sand. After location shooting was completed, one of the producers would have 120,000 kilograms of that same Utah earth shipped to sound stages in California for reshoots.
Years later, over 90 people developed cancer, with many, including John Wayne, Susan Hayward, and Powell himself, dying from it. While it's never been officially confirmed that the radiation caused the illness, the numbers are haunting. So when people call The Conqueror the movie that killed its cast, we can't actually argue with that.
Vehicular accidents. Resident Evil, the final chapter. Sadly, there were multiple accidents that happened on the set of this movie.
The antivirus is airborne, spread by the winds. It could take years for it to reach every corner of the earth.
Olivia Jackson worked as a stunt double for lead Mia Jovovich, a job that would forever change her life. While filming in South Africa in September of 2015, Jackson was riding a motorcycle as it collided with a camera crane. She suffered major injuries, was put into a medically induced coma, and had to have one of her arms amputated. She would later sue for negligence and rightfully win, though her career in stunts was clearly finished.
When I came out of the coma, I wasn't exactly sure of all my injuries. I don't think anybody had the heart to tell me that there was no chance of making it better.
Crew member Ricardo Cornelius wasn't quite as fortunate. In December of that same year, he was crushed by a Hummer after the platform it was sitting on tilted, dying hours later in the hospital.
Come on!
Motorcycle accident. Deadpool 2.
Sit tight and wait for my word.
Whatever. We're gonna lose them. I'm dropping in.
That's a negative.
Motorcyclist Joy Harris made a name for herself in the professional racing scene. However, her first job as a stunt performer would be her last.
Harris, seen here in a competition in 2015, was a professional motorcycle racer from Brooklyn.
While filming in Vancouver on Deadpool 2 in August 2017, Harris was doubling for domino actor Zazie Beetz. Although she was an accomplished racer and she had practiced the stunt several times, Harris lost control of her bike and crashed. She hadn't been wearing a helmet, as the character wasn't, and died on the scene moments later. While the film was dedicated to her memory, many professional stunt workers questioned using Harris over someone better trained. In fact, a more experienced stunt performer was available and willing, but Harris was chosen since her skin tone matched Beetz better.
Look, accidents on film sets happen all the time. Deaths are relatively rare. One is too many, of course.
Wild animals. Roar. While the message behind this comedy is great, it sounds like the 5-year-long shoot was an absolute nightmare.
It's just playing, I'm telling you. But you could get killed. The cat's got a little excited. Yeah, that's all. Oh.
Roar follows a man living on a nature reserve with big cats. Hilarity ensues when his family comes for a visit. However, what was no laughing matter was the fact that most of the animals used weren't trained. It's impossible to single out just one disaster or accident, as more than half of the crew and cast received serious injuries from their animal co-stars. A lion scalped cinematographer Jan de Bont, an injury that required 220 sutures.
He was back filming 2 weeks later.
Lead actor Tippi Hedren broke an ankle when an elephant picked her up with its trunk and contracted gangrene soon after.
Help me!
Naturally, there was a high crew turnover rate. Explosion accident. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. David Holmes took on the stunts Daniel Radcliffe couldn't, beginning with 2001's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But shortly after production began on the first Deathly Hallows in early 2009, tragedy struck. While filming a flight sequence in a harness, what was meant to be a controlled explosion sent Holmes falling through the air. Though he was conscious when he landed, he told those around him he couldn't feel his legs. Sadly, the spinal injury was too severe to repair, and he would never walk again.
What happened, I was rehearsing a Harry Voldemort sequence for the Deathly Hallows, and it was just a rehearsal that went wrong, and unfortunately I had my injury.
The silver lining is in the fact that it hasn't stopped him from pursuing his passions. He co-founded his own production company, Ripple Productions, in 2013. A life-ending crash. The Dark Knight. Clearly, some of the biggest on-set disasters can happen from stunts going wrong.
What street is he taking?
He's not on a street, he's flying on rooftops!
Having worked on stunts for Batman Begins, Conway Wycliffe returned for the sequel. While shooting at a special effects facility in England, he and the rest of the team planned and tested a sequence for Batman's tumbler. He was only meant to follow in a car behind, hanging out the window to film the stunt with his camera. But when the driver lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a tree, Wycliffe's positioning ensured his fate. He died at the scene. The film was dedicated to his memory, along with Heath Ledger's, who tragically passed from an accidental overdose during editing.
All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal. And I'm gonna give it to him.
An accidental shooting. Rust. The accidental shooting on the set of Rust is only the latest example of an on-set disaster.
The Sheriff's Department tells ET, quote, "This investigation remains open and active. No charges have been filed in regard to this incident. Witnesses continue to be interviewed by detectives."
In October of 2021, Alec Baldwin was handling a prop gun that discharged, shooting both director Joel Souza and cinematographer Helena Hutchins with a live round. While Souza was only injured, Hutchins died from the gunshot.
Baldwin has denied pulling the trigger on the gun which killed Hutchins and says he doesn't know how live rounds came to be on the set.
A widespread investigation into on-set safety was issued. Reports of the first assistant director David Hall's history of disregarding safety surfaced, and he would later plead guilty to negligence.
While the film premiered in 2024, Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed were charged with involuntary manslaughter. Baldwin was acquitted, but Gutierrez-Reed was convicted before being released on parole.
The district attorney's bombshell announcement means if convicted on all charges, the famed actor could face up to 6.5 years in prison.
Plunge into the sea. Top Gun.
Talk to me, Goose. Get in there, for Christ's sake! ICE is in trouble. He's got no cover. Get in there, Maverick. You won't last down there alone. Get in the fight, for Christ's sake!
Top Gun is an action classic to many, with high-octane thrills, tons of quotable lines, and Tom Cruise at the beginning of his career as a superstar. Unfortunately, not everyone who worked on the movie got to see it.
You're okay, Cougar. Just stay on my wing. I'll take you all the way in.
Pilot Art Scholl had worked on plenty of film and TV sets. His ability to capture riveting footage from inside the cockpit made him a must-have for this particular production.
Engine 1 is out. Engine 2 is out. Goose, I'm losing control. I can't control it. It won't recover.
In September of 1985, he was practicing a technique off the southern coast of California. However, something went wrong midway, with Scholl saying over the radio that he had a real problem. Unable to recover, he crashed into the Pacific Ocean. Neither the plane nor his body were ever recovered, making the actual cause a mystery. Gun misfire. The Crow.
Suddenly, I heard a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
Brandon Lee's death is one of the most infamous on-set accidents in film history.
It's funny. Little things used to mean so much to Shelley. I used to think they were kind of trivial.
In March of 1993, filming on the cult comic book movie had nearly finished. In fact, Lee only had 3 days left before he was done. They were filming a scene in which Lee's character, Eric, is shot by Michael Massey's Fun Boy.
Department of Housing.
Budget constraints had led to the prop crew creating their own dummy cartridges. When they were exchanged for blank rounds, the firearm's barrel wasn't cleaned, and a dummy cartridge had become lodged. When Massey fired, the cartridge hit Lee in the chest, and he died after 6 hours of surgery. The rest of his scenes were finished with a stunt double and special effects. The train incident. Midnight Rider.
After this story, you may never watch a movie the same way again.
Based on Greg Allman's autobiography, Midnight Rider was meant to tell the story of the rock star's life. It didn't even get through 1 day of filming before an on-set disaster guaranteed its cancellation. Filming began in Georgia in February 2014. While shooting a sequence on railroad tracks, the scene was interrupted when an actual train came barreling through the set. As we'd find out, the filmmakers had failed to secure filming rights for the location. This led to several crew members getting injured and the death of assistant camera operator Sarah Jones.
She was a little bit surprised that some of the people did not have the level of expertise that she expected.
Those in charge of the shoot, including director Randall Miller, were all charged with involuntary manslaughter and trespassing. Miller received a 10-year sentence, though only served 1 with probation.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Helicopter crash. Twilight Zone, the movie.
Bill, you look kind of cranky this evening.
Yeah, I'm pissed all right.
The Twilight Zone is spooky, but an accident from the movie's set was genuinely horrifying.
While here at home, a freak accident turns a war movie set into real-life disaster, killing veteran actor Vic Morrow.
The film tells 4 stories, each helmed by a different director. John Landis was overseeing his section in July of 1982 in Valencia, California. The story followed a man jumping through time, including the Vietnam War, where he had to protect 2 Vietnamese children.
I'm American! I'm American!
A stunt involving a helicopter went terribly wrong, causing it to crash and injure the 6 people inside. However, it landed on actor Vic Morrow and child actors Renee Shin-Yi Chen and Mika Din Lee. While the movie was still released, the sequence had to be reworked. The accident's ripple led to years of lawsuits and massive changes to safety regulations within the film industry.
Do you know of any other disasters that happened on a film set? Let us know in the comments section.
My parachute! What about it? It's gone!